Oh, hey, David.
Hey, I got your text. Is everything good?
Well, multiple times now, I've got the good old blue screen of death and a WHEA uncorrectable error.
Um,
So I guess everything isn't exactly good.
How often is it happening?
Probably that depends. It was like once a day for a little while, but just yesterday it happened like 3 times in 2 hours.
Oh.
So it's very random.
All right. Well, I'll do a little research and see what I can find.
All right, thanks, man.
Yep.
I'll see you whenever I see you.
Sounds good. So I am back. I did a little research on the WHEA uncorrectable error blue screen, and it's a very vast blue screen code. It can mean anything from the RAM, the CPU, the GPU, the motherboard. It doesn't specify anything specific, and that's kind of the unfortunate thing about this particular code. The only thing I have found that isn't with this build is that the Supernova G3 650 watt power supply by EVGA only has an 8-pin EPS connector for the CPU. So technically, according to MSI's documentation, it recommends that all power plugs be plugged in. So I went out and bought a EVGA Supernova GQ 750 watt, which does have two 8-pin EPS connectors, and I'm going to change out the power supply and see if that fixes the issue. Unfortunately, the G3 650 watt just doesn't have it. And this is pretty much the only thing I can find. I've spent several hours talking to different guys across the country on Reddit, Discord, and this is pretty much the only thing that we can all come to the general consensus of. So, let's build.
Well, I tried to do this with as little teardown as possible. So the first thing I did was remove the RTX 2070. This was needed in order to remove the left fan on the radiator so that the 8-pin EPS connector would be exposed. After that, I removed the power supply but left the 8-pin cable connected to the motherboard so that if I needed it, I had the entire cable to use as play to get that 8-pin out and work it as best I could, because it is quite a tight fit between that hole in the top left and the radiator. I ended up asking Alex for help because getting those 8 and 4-pin EPS connectors plugged in was way more difficult than just getting the original 8-pin out. I put the RTX 2070 back in, got everything wired up, and started the wiring process all over again. In this particular case, the flat cables that come with the EVGA GQ power supplies are not the greatest to route and tie down. I did have problems with the EPS cables and getting them tied down enough to look clean and be able to get the side panel back on without any wire bulge. I do have to say, massive shout out to the Micro Center near me for having this power supply since it was their last one and they were nice enough to hold it for me. We did have one blue screen with an error message after the power supply swap, but Alex managed to find one forum that said this was a known problem with this particular processor and motherboard combo. It also said in order to get rid of the problem, we needed to enable the boost mode in the BIOS so that the processor would be overclocked. Once we did that, his 9700K got to a stable 4.7 GHz, and since we did that, he hasn't had a problem. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and remember, don't buy it, DIY it.